Good morning, everybody. I'm presenting this information on behalf of National Liver Disease Biobank. In short, it is called NLDB. That is now the core facilities which the NLDB offers are the biosample storage and their maintenance. We store samples in liquid nitrogen, -80-degree freezers, with the annotation in biobank software with proper quality control. Then there is a separate part, that is the analytical part, which encompasses NGS, FACS with sorter, MS, and the pathological services for animal, human specimens, and the plants at times. And then the training and upskilling, which we are working on. Now coming to the first part, that is the biosample storage and maintenance. So from the beginning, we started late in 2018, and full working was started in early 2019, and then 20 and 21. So till now we have collected approximately more than 1 lakh samples from 10,000 patient liver disease. This is a panel which is showing the broad classification of the liver diseases. This is just to represent here in the table, but the detailed information is available at the National Liver Disease Biobank website, that is www.nldb.in. And this information is upgraded in every 2 weeks, that is in 1st and 15th of every month. Now, broad classification that like the acute viral hepatitis, chronic hepatitis, DILI, liver cirrhosis, ACLF, and others. You can see here, and type of samples. This is the number of patients, then the type of samples in the upper panel. So this is the broad classification here. And this is the number of patients. Like for acute viral hepatitis, we have 56 patient samples. And these are the type of samples which we have collected, like the serum, plasma, PBMCs. This is the SNP frozen, RNA in the biopsies, FFP biopsy tissue, frozen tissue, tissue in RNA litter, and formalin fixed paraffin embedded tissue, urine samples, fecal or stool samples. So all kind of samples, and the type of disease is mentioned here, and it is available at the website also. So you can access anytime whenever you ask, and detailed information you can ask, like the further classification according to your need. You can call to Biobank and ask every time. Now the biosamples, gradually we have increased. Now the samples are more than 1 lakh from the 10,000 patients. We recently started the cohort sample collection in 2021, where we want to collect the samples in the common diseases, where we can collect the samples from same patient, like the plasma, serum, PBMC, urine or stool, and whenever available, the tissue. So this is for the NASH and the alcoholic hepatitis patients. According to the principal investigator's need, we have a separate cohort collection that is not depicted here, because there are several studies in which the samples were collected for the requirement of PIs. Now we collect these samples according to the quality assurance practices, where we record and maintain the temperature, the breakdown records, deviation in the temperature, adverse event, and the corrective action taken. So alongside this, we have a remote monitoring by the data logger, where the biobank manager will get the mobile alert whenever there is a temperature drops, and the LN2 backup is there. So whenever there is a power supply hampering or something like that, so the LN2 will supply the cooling to the these freezers. And then we have a timely calibration of all equipment. And we have also placed a feedback box in the biobank. So if you have any complaint regarding the quality of samples or availability of samples, please put your complaints or your feedbacks in the feedback box. In the quality control side, we are following the criteria of the Luxembourg Biobank, where we are maintaining the QC of the samples according to the guidelines. and because of that we were certified in 2019 by the Canadian Tissue Biorepository Network, and this year certified and accredited by the QAI, that is a quality assurance of these are the accreditation and certification first ever in India. So this is a proud moment for the NLDB. Now, storage and maintenance. For the maintenance of the clinical data for particular samples, we have designed and developed a in-house biobank information management software that is called BIMS, and where we can maintain the patient sample registration, their clinical annotation, the processing details. Each and every processing details is mentioned in stepwise manner in the biobank software, where they are stored, and the retrieval live tracking of the samples. So whenever you take out one samples, it will be depicted as a vacant vial in the software map. Then the availability of samples. By one click we can assess how many samples of what disease is available. We can also search by the name of PI. So be assured that your samples will remain as under your name, and it is your account, your samples, and you can retrieve whenever you want. So for the annotation, we follow the 5-step procedure, that is the standard practice, where the clinician take the consent and verify the samples and the need, and technician will take those samples, comes into the biobank, and the data entry operator will mention the patient registration demographic detail first, and then a automated lab number is generated by the biobank software, that is the unique ID to the NLDB. And then the technician second, it will enter the storage details where other technicians are processing the samples. Simultaneously, he will mention the storage details in the samples, the type of vials, the time for freezing it took, and the barcode is also generated, which is placed at the vial. And these are the barcoded, which is freeze thaw resistance. Then we have a bottom kind of like the barcode at the bottom of vial. So the vial will not peel off whenever there is a cooling of those samples occur. And then the data entry operator, the further details which will come later in the course of duration of patient, like the radiological information and pathological findings, they will be entered by the data entry operator second. And finally, the medical officer will cross-check all the details with the clinical annotation and enters the final diagnosis. At times, the final diagnosis comes later. So in the biobank software, we can also send your online request, whichever samples you want. So you can send the online request from the biobank dashboard. But currently, it is because of the safety reasons, it is not being placed in the desktop or workstation at your table. So this is one thing which we are right now working on. And we can also upload and link the PDF files like the consent forms, the ethical approval, and other details which are required whenever we cannot mention all details in the system in a digital manner. So you can also upload your PDF files in the software. Now this software is under copyright registration, and we have started the process, and also we have started sharing this software for the commercial purposes, like for the biobank sustainability. Now comes the general terms of sharing of the samples, how and when, who can avail the samples. Though 60%, minimum of 60% of stored samples are reserved for the researchers, like for the academicians, and sample will be provided on a principal priority, like first the academicians, then the industry, and then the CROs, like clinical research organization, with general terms. General terms I will come. The nominal fees will be levied only to recover the cost incurred towards the sample storage and their maintenance. And also there is a provision for the exchange of samples. Suppose plasma samples and you need some other kind of sample in exchange. So biobank can coordinate between two investigators and can provide the exchange of samples. And if we have pooled samples in our biobank, we can also provide those samples in exchange. Now, For the academicians, they have to submit a project abstract, like a brief abstract of a project, then the ethical clearance. If ethical clearance is not there, then the undertaken will be submitted, and the sample type which you are requiring. So these three things to be submitted beforehand, and then it will go to the Biobank Release Board, and they will assess the application, and further the retrieval and the MTA, that is the material transfer agreement, will be signed between NLDB and a principal investigator. So in process, first you send an inquiry to the Biobank website or through the mail, and then we will assess the feasibility and we will revert within 72 hours, and then we request you to submit an application, and it will be reviewed by the Biosimple Release Board, and the generally TAT for all this process is 2 to 3 weeks. But we provide before these timelines, and then the samples will be released to the principal investigators. Now, for the ILBS students and investigators, how you can store your samples and what is the rental for the samples. So any student those who have their thesis protocols, they can freely storage their samples and retrieve samples if you donate 50% of your samples to the Biobank common pool. That will be also used by you later. If you want to use them, you can use, but you have to pay for them. And then if your collaborator or co-investigator wants to use, then they have to pay to Biobank. And for those samples also, you will get a authorship, joint authorship or co-authorship and acknowledgement. Suppose you have provided 100 samples, and 50% samples has been donated to Biobank, and somebody takes those 50% of samples, then also your name will come in the authorship list. So it is a double benefit to the investigators or whosoever is facilitating the collections. For the specific studies, like we are not charging any beforehand, so whenever you retrieve your samples, you have to pay to Biobank. These charges are very nominal and minimal in the industry of biobanking. Alternatively, you can avail the rental facility where you can pay to the Biobank beforehand, and you can store your samples for a year or whatever time you want. And then data will be maintained in the Biobank software along with the samples. You will get the data, whatever data you want and whatever we have. And then the facilities like FACS, NGS, and MS are available for the cost for the researchers to the cost-to-cost basis. And there is no profit, no manpower charges, nothing is levied. And the sample exchange is I have already explained. And we also coordinate to develop joint proposals if somebody has samples and somebody has the idea. So you can collaborate amongst yourself. And so this is the brief outline of annotation format. Here I want to highlight two things, like the project name, where there is a name and there is a PI name. So your account will be under your name. So don't worry about this thing that will mixed up. Regarding the charges are for the storage, they are nominal, like from 20 rupees to it is 50 or 100 rupees only. Suppose you are placing a rack of 1500 vials, then it will come like bulk storage, it will come down. And for the simple single vial or something like that, it is 50 rupees. So it is very nominal. And the sample retrieval is approximately 100 to 500. That is the minimum to maximum cost, and it depends upon the variable, depends upon the amount of sample and type of samples and the storage where you kept those samples. From 2019 to 2020, we have gradually picked up in sharing of samples, and in 2021 we have shared approximately 5,000 samples to the investigators. Now coming to the second part, that is the analytical facility. So first we have animal tissue pathology services, where we have providing the pathology services in terms of the blocks, stained or unstained slides, HE slides, spatial stain or assessment if you want. Then the other services related to pathology are also available. And we have in 2021 alone, we have done more than 8,000 samples for the animal pathology. And the pathology service charges are also 50 to 400, and 400 is maximum for the IHC and 50 is for the unstained slide. So it is in the range of 50 to 400. Now the analytical facility stats. So we have done 1500, close to 1500 in NGS and FACS, and more than 2500 in MS for the ILBS as well as for the non-ILBS investigators. The charges are 1,000 to 3,000 plus GST, and NGS services are cost to cost basis. These MS services, because we have collaborated external agency, so the charges are placed here, but internally Dr. Jaswinder is providing that. So you can better, he is a biologist and he is a scientist, so better it is better that you avail the services through in-house. For the NGS, we have now the facility of NGS running, so the cost to cost basis it is being provided. And recently we have designed the panel of metabolic cholestatic vascular diseases and hereditary pancreatitis and malignant theranostic panels, which was suggested by various our doctors like Dr. Vikrant, Dr. Ajay, Vikram sir, and Sareen sir. So, and this is under tender process. Regarding the training workshop and upskilling program, so we have organized quite a few workshop and webinars, and we have trained 148 trainees till date. And right now we are also providing bioinformatics support from the external agency through Rishabh. He sits on Monday, Wednesday and Fridays full time, so you can avail these services, and that is no cost incurred towards that. And we have also launched this Pgcc program for bioinformatics to help the students if we can get. And we planned this program that is not right now in the running, but we have planned this that is called TGP3, so we can provide the training with the collaborations, and it is a two-step process. In one step, we can provide the basic and general training for 6 months, and then the diploma course for 24 months. And that is those hybrid clinicians, those have been trained, will collaborate with the IIT Roorkee and BETIC, that was helped by Vijay sir and Sareen sir, and then we can generate some clinical innovators in the diagnostic tests. Towards the beginning of sustainability, Biobank has generated closed more than 1 crore in 2021, despite having the pandemic of COVID, but we picked up in the second quarter onwards. And last year also, because we have to plan it from the third year, but we planned it from second year onwards, so, and we could generate approximately 1.5 crore from the Biobank services. And these are few of the membership and awards of the Biobank. We are part of Biobank India Foundation, ISBA Organization Committee, and this year we got this ISBA Special Service Award in 2021. And this is our future planning, where we can collaborate and joint proposal development can be done, manpower training. We want to become a QC center where we can provide the accreditation to other Biobank or other agencies. So, and then the Biobank network, biobanking based science, if we can develop, and then we can do the biomarker discovery and validation and support in the clinical trials, support in the epidemiological studies. It is a big challenge. And finally, someday we can, this National Liver Disease Database and support information can provide some guidelines and information for patient care and better management. In summary, there are 2 words only. The NLDB services are only for you, and it saves your time and money. That's it. Nothing to add in this. In acknowledgement, the people of Democratic Republic of India, who are the donors and owners of this project through DBT and ILBS, Professor Shiv Sareen for enormous and unconditional support, team ILBS, NLDB staff, and DBT through Government of India. Thank you.